All right. I want to make maybe a few of these videos, maybe a little series, or we'll see sort of how this goes. But I've been teaching ESL, TEFL online for the past several years, and I would like to show you guys an example or a few examples of how I take advantage of ChatGPT to help me produce materials for these classes. Now, this could be applied to just ESL, or you can sort of take these and tangentially apply them to other classes and other materials and things. This was an idea I had the other day. It had to do with pronunciation. So what I did was this was I believe it was for a Spanish speaker, but I've done this with all kinds of students from Russia or from Japan, China, etc. And it's worked with different results. And obviously, there are different things to emphasize with different students. But this was a fun exercise, a fun warm up for pronunciation. And I told ChatGPT, uh, produce me a paragraph of English sounding phonemes and morphemes, so like bits of words and phrases or bits of pieces of English that it's not actually real English, but that sounds like it for me to practice pronunciation. So the idea was if we could sort of give students like it, they've read a lot of different kinds of English. I can show them different articles and things like that, or I can show them some English that they wouldn't otherwise recognize, right? Just from like the patterns or like words that they already know, and see if they can still pronounce the words as English as it should be pronounced, right? So the students have a lot of fun with this, right? These words and these things sound very strange, and it's one of those things like if you ever seen those videos where you have someone like speaking a language in the way it's spoken, but they're just saying nonsense, like just to sort of demonstrate different languages, how they sound to non-native speakers. Anyway, that was sort of the idea. Again, it was just this fun thing that came into mind. So I'll just read like a few lines here. And ChatGPT did a good job with this. So it would sound like Frindle pargests or parguests in the Blafry Scran, while Trumbull Lokers fandle in the Crisk. Jondred by the spaffle lights, they quexed through the glimsy drees, hoping for a venturing drite. Right. Totally silly and ridiculous, but we have fun with that. And then sort of you can copy this and put it on a separate document and go through and sort of highlight any sounds that were, maybe difficult that you can go over and, continue to practice with. I wanted a bit longer version, so I just prompted that, and then ChatGPT was able to do that for me as well. So again, you have your shorter version, you have your longer version. You can prompt for maybe a more advanced version or a less, more simple version, depending on the level of your student. Um, Next, this was another activity that I had thought of. I like the idea of ad libs. Yeah, you sort of tailor this to different levels. You can prompt for more complex or less complex vocabulary, right? Depending on the level of your student. So this was for a student from Spain, so I wanted to keep it relevant. So I had them create me an ad lib for a grand voyage across Spain. And you know how this goes. I would ask for my student to come up with different adjectives, abstract nouns, emotions, musical instruments, right? Just to sort of get the vocabulary flowing and flying out there. And by the end of it, you end up with a ridiculous and fun story that you can have the student read back to you, and they're reading, they're practicing pronunciation, they're using or thinking about the words that they've chosen, and then we are going through and we're learning new words as well, like beckoned, embarked, if those were new words for them. Again, just a fun activity to get, a little bit of a different vibe in the class. And it's all done with the help of ChatGPT. It does it for you absolutely instantly. And it's just, I like it. I just think it's good for the class. So I did a few of those, a few different versions. Okay. Finally, I think I was in the midst of the class and this sort of just popped up to my head. So the beauty of this is that this happens so quickly, or ChatGPT is so quick with its ability to generate these things. I will literally be in class talking with the student, and maybe I'll pose them a question and like some idea will come into my head. I'll throw my screen over to Chat GPT. I'll type in a prompt really quick and have it generate. And literally, I'm like making the class on the fly sometimes for my students. I usually have enough prepared to run the class, but sometimes something just, in the middle of the class, you find something that you feel like you should work on or that you can do, and it just sort of comes out. And with ChatGPT, you can literally be designing your class as you're doing it, right? So that's what's really cool. So this idea was give me 7 crazy phrasal verbs and ask me philosophical questions using each of them. So this was a student that likes thinking deeply and outside of the box and getting into those sort of deep topics. And phrasal verbs are a very common situation, common problem for students that they need to work on. They need to fill in their vocabulary with because we use them a lot in English and they're a bit foreign for most languages. So ChatGPT did a good job. Zone out was the phrasal verb. When we zone out, we detach from our surroundings. Philosophical question. What does it mean to be truly present? And is it possible that zoning out allows us to access deeper thoughts or insights that we miss when constantly engaged? So we have the phrasal verb, we have the definition, and then we have a philosophical question. You can have your student read this, or you can ask your student this and have them reflect. And again, they're practicing listening, they're practicing speaking, they're practicing integrating a new vocabulary word into their language. And that is just all around going to be beneficial for them getting to those higher levels of English and really stretching the boundaries of what they have access to. So they had face off, psych up, uh, freak out, light up, run with, turn around. And ChatGPT again did a very good job with that. So those are 3 activities that you can take advantage of. Just totally made up. I don't think you'll find those in a textbook anywhere. But go ahead and use those for your classes and let me know how it goes. So that's the first edition of AI for ESL. And I'll see what happens in the next one. Let me know. Drop a like, drop a comment, subscribe, and peace.